and welcome to another edition of the Josh Hose Show. I'm your host, Lexi Goff, and with me is the head coach of the Massillon Tigers, Josh Hose. We want to thank our sponsor, Reliable Heating and Cooling. Coach, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
The Tigers are now 13-4 after picking up a couple of wins last weekend. Coach, your team had a tough game last Friday at home against Canfield, winning 59-48. Tell us more.
Well, I think Canfield came in ready to play, and we were ready to play. We just were coming off of the McKinley game. I think there's that little bit of that we call it the hangover effect. When you have an emotional game, whether you win or lose, you just football has it sometimes with the playoff game after McKinley. So I think our guys kind of weathered that storm after the first start of the game was kind of slow. We were doing some good things. I told the guys I felt like they were overplaying at times and trying to do too much. So once we calmed down, we took control of that game in the second half and kind of did our thing. Kept our composure really well. There was a couple technical fouls. There was some chippiness to the game, and our guys did a good job of walking away. And we walked away without any technicals. I think Canfield ended up getting two. It really kind of swung momentum in our direction. So better than a cap to our kids for really kind of keeping their composure. And we haven't done a good job at that at times this year. So I was proud to see that growth. But overall, Canfield's a good team that can shoot the ball well, so we did a good job of their best player shutting him down. We ran multiple guys at him. Anthony was one of the guys coming on here. He was one of the guys that guarded him really well. Andrew Wilson-Lamp did a great job on him. So total team effort at that level, and really just really proud of the way they closed the game out.
Then on Saturday night, the Tigers beat Copley in the Costa Cufas Classic at Glen Oak. What do you remember most about that game?
That game, I would say, and not to single one guy out, but Jay Stock. He really willed us. I mean, he had, I think, 30 rebounds in 2 games this weekend, total rebounds. He was just a man on a mission. But early in the game, we were struggling to get. They were shooting really well, and we were struggling to get the ball to go in the hoop, and he did a great job keeping us in the game. And then everybody else got involved after that. But he just stuck out to me as a guy. It was kind of like what you expect out of your seniors is like a guy that just kind of made the plays when we needed it, and a lot of hustle plays. And so that was fun to see him get going. And just, Anthony is, again, coming on here. He did a great job of kind of giving us that versatility that he brings to the table, where we had him switching on and off of their bigs and then some other guys on the perimeter. And he has a unique skill set. Him and Andrew kind of give us both of that, where they're tall enough to play and physical enough to play in the post on defense, but also athletic enough and quick enough to guard on the perimeter. So he gave us some stability towards the end of the game. And he's only his third game back. I mean, he hadn't even practiced going into the McKinley game, really. Was limited with an injury and came out and gave us some minutes there that were really good. And each game you've seen him getting his basketball legs back. He hit a big 3 for us in the Cufos Classic game. And, Cotley's got a couple young guys, so they were ready to go and just give, our 2 seniors, it really gave us a calming presence. And Isaiah Roberson, our 3rd senior, came in and gave us really good defensive minutes in the 4th quarter. And, when those guys are leading, we're really good. And so they did a great job of that. And getting Anthony back has just been huge because of the calming effect, the experience he has. He started every game for us last year, and we were missing that at times. There's so many games that we walked out of as coaches, not to make excuses, but, man, it'd been nice to have Pedro tonight. Just, because we see the value of what he brings to the table. So, really 2 good wins for us going into the tournament, just to get us on the right track after a tough McKinley loss.
Your team has 5 games remaining in the regular season, with 4 of those at home. Do you like the way your team is performing at this point in the season?
Oh, absolutely. To be 13-4, I think some of our guys had mentioned, we'd like to win 15 games this year, and obviously that's within reach. We as coaches never talked about that. We just kind of hoped that we were playing well towards the end of the season, got better and better. Wins and losses, you can't control a lot of that stuff, so we were optimistic that we could win more than we lost, let's put it that way. But we also knew, coming out of a group of a majority of our guys come off a long football season, health-wise, and then just getting a late start, practice-wise, was going to be a challenge. So kudos to our kids. They come out and compete every night. Sometimes it's not the prettiest games, but at the end of the day, they play with great effort. They play as a team, and I think that's been the product of what they've bought into and they're selling. And again, our seniors are leading that way. And our kids buy into it. So it's been a fun year to coach this group because of that. And, I love the way we're playing towards the end of the year, like you asked. It's been a group that's gotten better each week. We've had our highs and lows, but overall they keep getting better. We keep having better practices. We're playing better as a team, and so like the next 5 will be interesting as we go into the tournament, which will be extremely interesting because it's a really challenging district. But I like where we're at.
We'll talk more with Coach Hose, and we'll visit with the Tiger player in a moment. But first, this word from Reliable Heating and Cooling.
There was a time when 10 miles to the gallon was acceptable. Today's 40-plus mile per gallon cars weren't even in the rearview mirror back then. Of course, this Lennox air conditioner wasn't on the radar either. It's solar ready, the quietest, most energy efficient air conditioner you can own. It's time to live in the now.
Call Reliable Heating and Cooling for the most advanced technology in heating and air conditioning. When you're ready to live in the now, call Reliable Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, air is life. Make it perfect.
Thanks to Reliable Heating and Cooling, and welcome back to the Josh Hose Show. The Tiger player joining us this week is senior Anthony Pedro. Anthony, as one of the 3 seniors on this year's team, do you feel like you've become somewhat of a leader in that Tiger locker room?
I definitely feel like I've become a leader. Just being a senior, I mean, it comes with it, but just the way I lead the guys, not only leading by example, but vocal, it's something I really work on and take pride of.
On the court, what is your role for this team?
My role is mostly being the energy guy, just coming in, bringing energy to the floor, shooting the basketball when I'm open, finishing at the rim, and definitely just being a good defender.
You missed a big part of this season due to an injury. Do you feel like you're getting back to where you were prior to getting hurt?
It was tough being out. It was a long time just being with the team, helping out as much as I can. But coming back, I'm three games in now. I feel like I've got my basketball legs back as really as much as I can, and I'm hopefully return to back to how it was.
What are the areas of your game you worked on the most in the off season?
In the off season, anytime I could really get shots up, that was one of the main things I focused on. Just keeping my jumper, anytime I can get into the gym, getting on the gun, just shooting with my guys, that was really what I worked on.
Describe for us any personal goals you had for yourself going into this season.
My number one personal goal was just to be a better vocal leader. I think the last 2 years, I've led by example, but I haven't been more of a vocal leader to the guys. And just any time in the locker room, before the game, during halftime, just be that guy to settle the guys down, tell them what we need to focus more, and be a better vocal leader.
And finally, tell us something about Coach Hose that most people may not know.
Coach Hose, he's a very superstitious guy. As you guys have heard before, he goes to Taco Bell after every game, and one of the things sometimes before drills, he always says pick a number 1 through 20, and the number is always 19, which I've caught on to.
Tell people that.
I've caught on to and took advantage of that.
Thanks, Anthony, and good luck for the rest of the season. Coach, tell us more about Anthony, both as a person and a player.
Well, I liked him a lot more before you outed me on my number thing I had going on. But no, Anthony, I can't tell you how much he means to us. It was hard for him. I know being out. I was in a similar situation my senior year, but to have a senior injury is really tough. And you care and you're passionate like he is. It was hard on us as coaches not to have him, but he was that kid at the end of the bench. If you ever watch our games on WHS-TV or any of our film, him and Nikki Liebler down there just getting crazy at the end of the bench, bringing that energy and like he talked about being a vocal leader. But he's also a great player, and so it's like as much as I loved having him there, I love having him on the court a lot more. So getting him back was a shot in the arm. Maybe we needed at this point in the season, just an energy booster, athleticism booster, talent booster, whatever you want to call it. He's hit us across the board on all that stuff. But he's a great kid too. He's a great student. So I mean, he started every game for us last year, and just he talked about being a leader, by example. And that's you have to be a leader by example first before you can be a leader by voice. I totally believe that, because if you're not following through with what you're saying, the guys won't follow through with it or buy into what you're saying. And so to see him in a J stock and Isaiah, as a seniors, I always say that you're as good as your seniors are. Well, we're having success this year because we have great seniors, and those guys lead by example. So when they do speak up, it means something. Nobody can question his work ethic. He brings it every day in practice. Even when he was hurt, he was, one day it stuck out to me. He was challenging one of our guys that wasn't bringing the energy that he needed to have. And you know what? That kid couldn't argue, because this dude does it every day. Even when he was hurt, he was bringing that energy and positive, mojo to practice that we talk about all the time. So, at the end of the day, he's an asset to have on your team, whether he's hurt or not, because he's just a great kid. He wants the team to be successful. He doesn't care about personal achievements or accolades, and that's why he'll continue to do great things. You just talked before he came on about he wants to get into education and coaching. That's why he'll be a great teacher and a great coach at his institution, wherever he ends up at.
Your Tigers have 3 more games before next week's show. They're all home games. On Friday night, you're home against Youngstown Ursuline. What can you tell us about the Irish?
Well, they've been a kind of an up and down team this year. They're hovering around that 500 mark. They beat Warren Harding early in the year, which Warren's one of the better teams in the state. Beat us early this year, so but then they've had some games they struggled. So you can't really compare scores. The way I've seen it this year, teams are beating each other left and right. We beat them by 1 up there last year, and they had a shot to beat us right at the end of the game, but we got lucky in that one a little bit. I'm looking forward. It's going to be a tough game. They're going to come in and play hard. Hopefully we're battle tested. We've been in a lot of close games and come out victorious in most of them. So we got to come in ready to go. Hopefully we can build off the defense we played in the fourth quarter on Saturday and carry that into this weekend's games, which are so big for us.
Then on Saturday night, your team faces Ridgewood. How about a scouting report on the Generals?
Well, I haven't focused a whole lot on them. I know that they're 15-0 or 16-0 coming into the game, so they are going to be ready to go. They called us for a game. Anytime that happens, usually somebody's got some good players coming up, and they're looking to come in and make a name for themselves, so to speak. So they're going to be really disciplined. They shoot the ball well. We got a couple scouts working. Coaches working on that scout for them. But I assume that they're going to be ready to go just because of the fact that they are undefeated and they're coming here and they wanted this game. So we got to take care of Friday night first and then come back Saturday and play a really good Ridgewood team that's coming in. And I think the challenge there, on top of them being a really good team, is our guys' mentality. You're playing a team you don't know, and in a smaller school, we can't overlook them. We've gotten caught before doing that. And anytime somebody's playing a bigger school, I've been at a smaller school coaching. You go in with nothing to lose. You come in and you lay it all on the line. So I think our kids have learned that lesson, and they'll be ready to go. And challenge them to be ready and have a great attitude and a great week of practice to get ready, because these 2 games are going to be really pivotal for the sectional and tournament draw.
Then next Tuesday, you're home against Hoover. What do you know about the Vikings?
Seen Hoover quite a few times with us playing so many of the teams in the area and the Federal League. I've crossed paths with them a few times. So, they lost their best player from last year as a freshman, now a sophomore, and went up to St. V. But they play well as a team. And they shoot the ball extremely well. They shoot a lot of threes. And so if they're hot, we got to close out their shooters and make sure they're not getting easy looks. But at the same time, they're going to fight like heck, and they're going to play great defense. Coach Blue does a great job over there, and they got us there early last year. We played them first game of the season, and we played them tough for 3/4 of the game, and in the fourth quarter they pulled away. So I anticipate they'll be ready to go. They present some matchup issues with the way they shoot the ball. So, but I think with our guys and our versatility now, with having an Anthony back, to play 3 or 4 positions, we can match up with just about anybody around because we have so much athleticism and versatility that it does give us, as coaches, gives us a lot of leeway in who we can sub in and out.
And finally, the Division I sectional district tournament drawings will take place this Sunday. As you know, the district is loaded with excellent teams. Can you project where your Tigers might be seated on Sunday?
No. I mean, as coaches, we sit there and we talk about it. I guess I could say we could project anywhere between the number 4 seed to the 7 or 8 seed. It's really murky, and it's, it's not as easy to say, well, this team has 15 wins, they're going to be the 2 seed. A lot of coaches look at records, they look at schedules, they look at makeup of your team and all that stuff, who you've matched up with. So I think the schedule piece is going to be huge, because with our district, there's a lot of Federal League teams in there that play each other and beat each other. So some of those records can be misleading. And there's a lot of teams that have, if you can't play what's the word I'm looking for? But we beat this team, they beat that team. You can't play that game because there's been so many teams that have beat each other. It doesn't match up. It doesn't. There's no consistency to it. So. end of the day, we talk to our guys about, like, let's win these two. If we come in at 15-4, that's the best we can ask for. And then we just let the chips fall into May, and we go, either host or we go somewhere and we play a tournament game. And we have to play somebody good. We have to play somebody good. And there's not too many. I don't think there's any gimmies, easy games in this tournament. So we're going to be playing a quality opponent in that first game.
Thanks, Coach. As we wrap up another edition of the Josh Ho Show, we want to thank Reliable Heating and Cooling for being our show sponsor. And thanks to Coach Hose and Anthony Pedro for joining us. I'm your host, Lexi Goff. Be sure to join us again next week for another edition of the Josh Ho Show. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Tigers.
Massillon City Schools is proud to have one of the top career technical education programs in the state of Ohio, recently receiving a #1 ranking of the 93 districts in the area of achievement. Our Career Technical Education Department offers 14 pathways preparing students for college and careers. All students have the opportunity to participate and compete in their career technical student organization, as well as obtain valuable experience in the field while earning aligned industry credentials and/or college credit in high school. Visit massillonschools.org for more information.